So the next one is sort of falling forward. It's carrying on from where we left off in terms of the embracing failure. So the one that comes to mind it was actually an episode back in 2023 with Chris Crooks. So Chris Crooks is, by all intents and purposes, the guy in the tattoo industry, and he built out a niche. Was a sort of maverick marketeer before social media, and carved out a real sort of place for himself in the industry. And what I found fascinating about Chris was, you know, outwardly he looks like he has this Midas touch that everything he touches turns to gold. But digging into it, he was just throwing the ball out. He says it was like having the ball on the chain attached to his ankle, and he would throw the ball out in front of him. So rather than let him drag him down, he would just keep throwing the ball out to see where it went. He says he just had the perseverance where he would do that. And that's the excitement, that's the adventure. You know, see, when you look at the other side of, you know, fear and doubt, like there's excitement and adventure there. And fear and doubt are just things in your mind. Like, what really do you have to be afraid of? All right, you looked daft. Okay. You looked daft loads of times. You know, was it materially damaging your life? No. We've all looked silly. We've all done stuff that we're like, okay, fair enough. Not everybody's looking at it like, oh, well, that was that. And then they get on with it. Well, don't let it stop you. Fall forward. Because like we said before, if you learn to fall into your failures and pick up the wisdom, a failure is an opportunity for you to learn something. Now let's take that a little bit further. That failure is telling you what you need to learn. It's also telling you if you learn this, you're going to improve. You're going to take yourself away from failure and towards success. That's why you this year, coming up, 2025, should fall forward. So body and mind, here's a great thing. I mean, Big Mikey was on talking about his incredible journey from fat to fit. I mean, if you could ever look at a cartoon character, like if you could make a real guy cartoonish, you would make Big Mikey. He's 6'8" or 6'7" now. I think he's an inch shorter from doing squats or carrying his gut. I don't know if that's debatable which one it is. A gut that he no longer has, right enough, because he's in incredible shape. But it shows the power of when he was overweight and at his fattest, he was the most unhappy that he'd ever been in his life. And it showed the connection between your physical activity, your physical appearance, and your mental state of mind. He just was not a happy guy. He was just rolling with it. He felt miserable, he looked miserable, and he looked like a bag of shit, and he felt like a bag of shit. So he made a decision to change. And what happened is he went on this upward spiral of improving his mind and improving himself. He started with the body, but the first decision he ever made was in his mind to change. That's the power of making the decision and then committing to that decision. And as you'll hear on the episode, that consistency and dedication wasn't always there, because there was some fits and starts where he would, you know, tell a fib to his coach and say that he was on his diet and he wasn't, and then, you know, the coach would take some more food off him and then they would have an even harder week and he should have just come clean. That's the thing. When you're doing these things, like, just because someone has achieved it, know that the road that they got to achieve it was full of bumps, as will yours be, because those bumps will teach you lessons. And old habits do die hard, but they do die, and you can replace them with new, powerful, more empowering habits. But it doesn't mean that the old habits don't go down without a fight, because they will. And Mikey was a great example of that. And he went cartoonishly to the other end of the spectrum, where he's this huge, big, muscly, tattooed fucking giant, and he's ripped and lean, and you get these cartoonishly full muscles, and you're in awe of his transformation. And it shows the power of making a commitment and then using the trifecta between how you feel inside, how you look outside, and your state of mind. See, when you make a commitment to making those three work for you, it is unstoppable. You will just be energized beyond your comprehension of what you're able to do. And there you go. Mikey's story was a classic example. So this year, add in some physical activity. You'll see me out on the bike at New Year's Day, You know, at New Year's, I ride the bike to make a habit of it. I'm going to, I could take the car. I go and ride my bike because it's hard. I want to let the year know I'm finishing strong. Everybody else is like, oh, it's cold out there and it's wet out there. I want to finish the year on a high. And I also want to start the next year on a high. So the last day of the year, I ride my bike. First day of the year, I ride my bike. Wind, rain, snow, sleet, cold, doesn't matter. You go out and get it done. And that tactical edge you get will give you so much power.